Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about the uh the the way we move in corporate America, the way that we are impacted, and how our white counterparts really do have a lot to do with the way we show up every day, right? So what is
Absolutely.
like? I mean, what? How can that be something that we can start to effectively create the support systems for one another? Because I think we need it as Black women. We definitely need to be able to plug into each other and understand that we ain't going through this by ourselves,
Yeah,
right?
no, it starts from being intentional. That's why some of the books that I named are at my beck and side, right? Like I'm not yelling, right? Let's just go with how we talk.
Mhm.
Women of color, we talk loud. We talk
Right.
loud, we clap when we laugh, we
That's
use
what we
our
do.
hands,
Mhm.
we do all of these things
Mhm.
in that are part of who we are many times just culturally. That we
Right.
just do what it is that we do. And we don't have to know one another in order to have that universal connection because those are our ancestors. The
Right.
ancestors know each other, so we know each other,
They just
right? And
showing up
so
every
that's it.
again, the
We don't even
connection.
people are like, do you know her? Nope, I've never seen that woman a day in my life. That's why we're on cruises and going,
That's
hey
your girl,
girl,
though.
I
That's your
know you.
girl.
And that and never seen that woman one day in our life. I thank God for the Black women who are intentional with
Right.
me. We have
Exactly.
to create those spaces in work environments
Yes.
because when you're getting phone calls and women are emailing you saying, hey, thank you so much for wearing your natural hair to the meeting. I was kind of
Yes.
worried about that.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Not the presentation. We're worried
But your
about how
hair
we
was
look.
natural, right,
If we
girl?
bust out laughing
Yeah.
or if we get upset, that's seen as aggressive. But our counterparts are passionate. You see how those words are different?
The different words, like, or I have been told, and I haven't been told. I watched my mom model this behavior. You don't cry at work. So
No,
that's what you learn. That Black people don't. Black people, not just women, but Black women. I will specifically say that we. I always taught my girls don't cry in the public, right? Because it's considered a weakness. But our white counterparts, they get to cry at work and all of that, and it's considered that she just upset. But you start crying at work, that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother level. So I
yeah,
always
yeah,
say, if you're gonna cry, go in the bathroom.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't
There's
let
a
them see
book.
you cry,
Yeah,
basically. Don't let them see you sweat.
yeah, yeah. Because there's a book by Unique Redwood called "White Women Cry and Call Me Angry," a Black
Mm.
woman's memoir on racism. And I as soon as I seen the title, purchase, buy. I need to
Why
know
not?
what this
Right.
means, right?
Right.
Because
Mhm.
you're talking about a real thing. They can cry in the workforce, and then it gives women of color this hyper masculine alpha. We're constantly operating in these alpha roles,
Right.
not because we don't want to be in our softness as women. We don't get the space to be soft as
Right.
women. Just like you said, you told your daughters, if you got to cry, go in the bathroom and cry because you're telling them something that we all know as a lived
And learn.
experience.
And
Yeah,
learn. Right.
yeah,
We learned
yeah.
it.
You
Yeah.
want a windmill fight, and Karen can throw something across the room,
Right.
but Carmela better not. That they calling the police. They
Okay,
calling the police.
you gonna get ushered out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're going.
They're
They
gonna
giving
usher
you.
you
Yeah.
out.
Oh, that to the car. You're going to the
Right.
car.
Right.
And God and can we just be honest? If you get the police call, we thanking God if you make it out alive. It
Right.
can be something
That's
so
real.
simple, something so
Exactly.
simple.
Yes.
When you're at work and you're seeing people who exhibit true racism,
Right.
right? I had a young Black colleague who worked with me in the VA who white peer was just harassing her,
Mm.
being nasty. Her husband was involved, and they barely
Wow.
did anything about it. I'm sitting on the next call, and
Mhm.
I hear like the chief giving that same white woman all these accolades.
Mhm.
Ain't this the woman that got the complaint about the racism and the stalking of the other peer and calling it? What are we doing with that? But if that had
Right.
been a woman of color, if it had been in the reverse, it just
Mm.
never would have been allowed. It never
Right.
would have been allowed. And
Exactly.
we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about how all the skin and kin and
Mhm.
all of those things. And we have to navigate all of that in the workforce. It is constant. Why are you so dressed up?
Mm.
Right? All of those things. You know, X, Y, and Z. Or
Right.
if you don't spend time with people outside of work, then you're seen as anti. So those are traumas for us. We don't want to do that.
Really
we don't.
is. And sometimes you're trying to spend more time with the people you don't even like. So you're trying.
I'm not
you
paying no
telling me to
money
come
for
to
no
happy hour
meal.
and I
Yeah.
ain't happy. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
so it's a whole lot going on. So I feel like that's real. And you get a ping. You get a ping. Understanding those nuances and how to navigate the landscape is why we need a support system for Black women, and
Get it.
so we can have these kinds of conversations and help our young sisters up the ladder. They don't have to walk on the same landmines.
They don't.
Why would you want them to?
Exactly.
Help you not have to. You know, and the way that we help you not have to is because our lived experiences now, we're saying, this happened to me, I don't want this to happen to you. And if it does happen to you, this is how you need to handle it. As opposed to, well, yeah, that happened to me too.
Yeah. Oh, well, I got over it, so you will too. No,
Right.
This is how I am. No, niece, you I got this. Let auntie get this one.
Right.
You go ahead, you reroute that way. I got you right here. And sometimes we have to just literally put our hand out and say, no, I'm going to create a space for a young woman of color. I'm going to create space for a Black woman. I'm going to be intentional about that because I know those spaces are so limited, and we have to be unapologetic about it. And I want women, anyone listening, create your safe spaces. Stop doing harm in spaces with people who are not serving you in a well. You don't have to eat good meals with bad people. I'm not going to go eat dinner with people. I'm not. Food costs too much money. I come to enjoy this meal. I'm not sitting in no meal where I got to stuff this food down and get myself together and struggle. No, no, I'm not doing
that. That was good. No, I truly believe that we got to have that the support system, yes, but then also mental toughness. Like that's the key right there. It's like developing that mental toughness in that space that you don't know what's coming at you every day. You got to walk in there because you really don't know. And it's a mental thing. A lot of it is psychological warfare more than anything else. And so understanding how to navigate the psychological warfare that you're about to walk into a war when you walk into that business environment, that corporate environment. So how do you navigate this thing? And some of our young women don't know how to.
They don't.
And they need to be taught how to, and not take it offensively because it's designed that way. So now you got to learn how to psychologically navigate that thing.
Yeah, you got to do it. And people want to say we're the angry Black women and all that. We're not angry. We fight in psychological warfare. And the fact that you think that I'm angry, that in these spaces, right? That's part of it. That's part of it. But I may be angry that I'm constantly having to navigate myself. I tell a lot of women, be mindful when you're shifting, right? Or when you're shrinking. There's a difference in that space there. There's a difference in that space there. If you're shrinking in, I'm not going to say how I worked well on that project because No, we worked collectively on that project in order to meet the goals effectively for the population that we serve. Stop shrinking in because we have to learn that. Yeah, we have to
braggadocious. That's the thing.
Yeah. You still humble and you still did the work. You can still say I did the work and be humble in that. I did that. That was me.
It's okay to say that. And I think one of the things that I've seen, because I work with women, high performing women, is they struggle with saying the greatness. Like they struggle with, how can I say so I won't feel like I'm bragging? You ain't bragging. You just doing what Joe does over here.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Between my language and their language and some of the men that talk about what they do, and they don't apologize. They're like, I did this and these are the things that I did and I'm walking in my power. But women of color, sometimes we shudder back.
Yeah.
We don't want to share the greatness that we just experienced in a project or what we did, and how we developed a application, whatever it is we're doing. We try to be like, well, what is that about? That's the thing with working through that in your head. It's like, okay, this is not what we need to do. We need to go this way, so that now you're feeling empowered when you're talking about the successes you've had, the things you've done, the people you've helped, all of that. That's not being braggadocious. That's just being who you are and walking in your power. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, that's different from trying to be a superwoman.
Yep, that's a whole different thing. And there's no honor in the burnout. There's no honor in not honoring yourself. There's no honor in that. Nobody is going to applaud you for how quiet you are about the work that you did.
Right, because guess who? Nobody gonna notice it. If you don't say nothing, advocate for yourself. And I found it's funny, I was talking with someone and she said, "Oh, I just love the fact that you advocate for yourself." I was like, who else is gonna advocate for me? Okay, nobody. She says, you just so good at, yeah, because I've learned to be good at it. Negotiate my rates, doing all of those things that I've had to learn to do, because I could easily take whatever you need, but if and then just keep going that way. But learning the building blocks of how to
Absolutely.
be and navigate as a consultant and as a coach, that's important. And being able to pour that into other people, teaching them that,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get that bag. This is how you get your bag. Don't be weird about asking folk about money that they owe you. Your intellectual property ain't for free. Pay me. It's Dr. Daniels when we walking up in these meetings. It's not, hey, you, hey, right? And giving other women that same accolade. How you doing? Miss Howard, how you doing? Or however you want to be. I'm gonna hit you with all that, because publicly we have to set these standards, because we're constantly being knocked down. The bar is constantly being raised. We see it with Kamala, right? People can't even say Kamala. When we start struggling about Kamala, that ain't no hard name to say. Madam President, Madam President. I'll get
right. That's what you say.
Whatever you trying to do, she could be twirling all in the world. I'm rocking with that sister, because I know everybody's gonna be looking at her that she got to do it 10 times more. Ain't nobody bragging like a mediocre white man. Ain't nobody bragging like that. Ain't nobody, right?
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, you mediocre and you're taking credit,
and you get to get all the credit, and
yeah. My friend,
I was talking with my my oldest daughter, and it was funny because she was telling me how she just brought in another a recruiter, and she found that they responded to this recruiter a little differently than they respond to the people of color. Right. And when I say they, I mean her white counterparts. They're like, oh, well, she's just amazing. They don't even know her. She just started. She don't even have more experience than the other people. But because of who she is with her color of her skin, she's immediately accepted.
That's right.
To fight for the acceptance. We have to, and they're still fighting for the acceptance. They work there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they've been there for maybe 5 years or more. They just bringing this new chick on. They don't even really know her. But it's just the observation of that. And it's like, what is going on? Well, this has been going on forever. And it's just a game that you got to learn how to play very well, but don't let it discourage you, and don't let it take you out mentally, because the thing that you're looking at is the thing that we as a people become a change agent, and don't allow it to take you out. That's the key right there. Just don't allow it to take you out mentally because of the thing that you see, because it's designed that way. To make you feel less than, to make the people around you feel less than. And she might just be mediocre as all get out. Because of the color of her skin and the privilege, they automatically are drawn to her, which is hilarious. They don't even know her.
Yeah. And Donald Lawrence's song says, systems are designed to break our confidence. That's exactly what they are. When I heard that in his song, I was like, oh my God, that is exactly what it is. They're designed to break your confidence. They're designed for you to sit in a space and shrink in, while others who come to the table with much less are applauded just because of the color of their skin. And one of my friends is like, you just never heard anybody brag more than a mediocre person, because they're gonna make it be all they can be. And this is what else, they don't ever have to really prove that either. They don't have to prove whether or not they can do what they say they can do.
They just show up with may not even have finished school. You got your doctorates and now they're your supervisor,
Yeah. And
it's
then
amazing to me. Amazing.
Amazing. People are, critical of Kamala for when she was a prosecutor. Now, had she been probably a white male, she would have been seen as a person who cleaned up our streets and made our community safe. But what do we hear? We hear all these negativities about her being a prosecutor. She's not obliged to give people grace who are breaking and harming people in our community because she's a Black woman.
Exactly.
Why is that the thing? If she was a man, she would be applauded for making sure that the drugs were off the streets and people who were committing whatever she's prosecuted people for. That's coming up a lot. Why is that coming up? Because that's a Black woman.
Right.
Nobody else is going through all of them changes. Nobody else is being accountable to that. It's so deep. And I hope that Kamala has, and every woman, not just her, everybody has a good sister program. But I mean, who's your board of directors? I'm talking about sisters. I'm talking about the ones you can call, they eat, cry, use all the 4-letter words that you can figure it out, all that going on. And that you have a good board of directors that help support you when life is hard, and that we can and journey on. And I think that that's what every woman in corporate America needs today, because we are fighting a battle that is
it's an invisible battle, though. That's the thing, because you don't know that walking in, but you won't know that as a young Black woman coming out of college, HBCU, whatever. And now you know some of it, but you don't know all of it. Teaching you how to survive it, you know, that's, and now thriving in it. And I think that us, you know, the women that have walked through it, it's our responsibility to
absolutely
make sure our girls are good. You know, that's what it's making sure our girls are good, making sure that they can thrive in it and not have to feel like they're struggling, or something they said or did made them feel less than, because their greatness shows up when they walk in the room, Black excellence. But they're consistently trying to break that down. So I think it's important to be able to have a support system. That's the key.
Absolutely. You got to. You can't do it alone. If you do, you're going to struggle a lot harder. So trust your sister. Trust your sister. Give her a chance, right? And allow yourself to be given that same chance, and connect with other people. That's what I want people to take from that. It's like, be intentional with another woman that can help you carry forward. Trust what she's saying. Until you know that you maybe can't do that. But don't go into it in the space of, I don't need her, or she's my competition. I'm not your competition. We are in this walk together. We collectively.
Right. Which is why it's important to have those mentorships. And like you said earlier. And I love this after the podcast discussion.
This is the after party right here.
We put this on after the podcast discussion is a little deeper. Okay, go a little bit deeper. And I love this because I think it's very needed. And I pray that, you know, as we get this out there, that the audience even responds even more to this after the podcast show. Because you just gave me an idea, dropped it in my spirit, and we're gonna keep this thing moving.
Good. I love it. What
is the last thing you'd like to say to encourage a young sister in corporate America that needs a cold cup of water, needs reassurance, needs a kind of a spark in their confidence again, because their confidence has been shook because of something somebody said, did, or didn't do?
I want that young lady to, first of all, understand that this is their appointed time, that you're in the right space at the right time. But create a space, create your board of directors. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone, just like how you and I met. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone. Find someone who's going to be intentional with you in order to support you in that way, and create and build that. Get you a mentor, find you a space, look and see what you're looking at, change what you're reading, change what you're watching, ask God to center that energy for you, journal, get therapy if you need it, because this stuff is real, right? We can have Jesus and our therapist and a good mentor and good medicine if we need it. Ain't no shame in any of that, and really work hard to figure out what your purpose is, but get you a good support system. I think we're, like Rachel Rogers says, we're like 95% of the 5 closest people that are to us. So what you are incorporating yourself with every day is a reflection of who you are. So be mindful of what that looks like in your circle, and get your supports and figure it out from there.
I love that. That is so good. That's such great advice. And again, this is a brand new after the podcast show discussion. So you just laid it all out, Dr. Daniels. Thank you so much again.
Thank you
for being on the show, for staying after the show and having another discussion. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.